Welcome to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. If you're listening on Spotify, you can support the podcast through listener support. Plus, check out exclusive show-related content and join the community at patreon.com/Animal Stories for Kids. And now, it's time for our story. Once upon a time, there was an antelope named Ajani. Ajani the antelope was a young calf in his herd. He wasn't the youngest, and he wasn't the oldest antelope, but he was kind of in the middle. Ajani was very reluctant to do anything important in the herd. He was so used to the older antelopes doing all the work. Ajani didn't really like to take on any responsibility. He was just fine eating, sleeping, and playing all day long. All the other older antelopes were helping the herd by looking out for the best shrubs so that the younger calves can eat well. Ajani the antelope was a young calf, and up until today, he was never really given any responsibility. But that was all about to change. The old wise antelope from Ajani's herd went over to Ajani and told him, "Ajani, I'm going to be away for a few hours with all the other older antelopes to find the next place for us to settle and to find more food for the herd. I need you to watch over the younger antelopes while I'm gone." Ajani the antelope was hesitant. I don't know if I can do that. I'm too young," he said. "I'm not very responsible. I'm actually more comfortable eating, sleeping, and playing." The wise antelope said, "I know you don't think you're responsible, but I think you're ready to start learning. And this is a good opportunity for you. And now, with all the other older antelopes gone, you are one of the older calves in the herd." Ajani the antelope sighed. "Okay," he said, "I'll do it, but I don't know if I'm ready to take care of the little calves. What if they get hungry? What do I do then?" The wise antelope said, "You know how to find shrubs, because you have seen us older antelope look for and find shrubs and other food for our herd. I have a feeling you know more about being responsible than you think. You've been hanging out with all the other older antelope for a while now, and I know it will all come to you when you need it. It's been like that for all of us antelope. We see everything when we're younger, and when we grow up, we do all the things we learned from the older ones in our herd. I know you'll do just fine. So, we are leaving now, and we'll be back before sunset." And the wise antelope went off with all the other older antelopes to look for a new place to settle and more food for the herd. Ajani the antelope, although reluctant, took his responsibility seriously. He didn't want to do anything, but he knew that the younger calves really didn't know how to take care of themselves. They needed an older antelope to show them around and teach them how to do things, like finding food when they got hungry. Ajani called out to all the younger calves in the herd, "Okay, everyone, the wise antelope put me in charge. I might be a calf, but I'm a little bit older than all of you, and I'm not sure how good I am, and I don't think I can do better than the older antelope, but I'm gonna try. Unless any of you know how to find the best shrubs to eat from?" None of the younger calves said anything. They just looked at each other confused. Ajani asked the calves, "Do any of you calves know how to find good shrubs to eat from?" They still didn't say anything. They just kept looking at each other confused. Then one of the young calves said, Sorry, I know you're in the middle of giving a speech or something, but I'm getting hungry." All the other young calves realized that they were also hungry too. And all the young calves looked at Ajani the antelope. One of them said,
"Can you show us where the good shrubs are so we can eat? It's almost lunchtime and we're all hungry."
Ajani sighed, and he said, "There has to be some calf here that knows how to find a good shrub. Come on, really? You all really don't know?" None of the calves knew how to find shrubs or anything. They all needed help. Johnny the antelope said, "Well, I can't just let you all starve out here in the sun." "Okay, listen you littles. I'm gonna show you how to find a good shrub to eat, but I'm only gonna teach you once. Don't ask me to teach you anymore." One of the younger calves said,
Okay, we want to learn from you so we can just eat shrubs on our own.
Johnny said, "Good. Okay, let's see. I see the older antelope always doing this to find our food. Okay, so in order to find the good shrubs to eat, you first have to look for where the trees are, and you could usually find shrubs near water. But there isn't much water out here in the savannas, so the next best thing to look for are trees. Out here in the savannah, there aren't many trees, so let's all walk over past that rock way over there, and we can see some trees over there in the middle of the savannah, so let's go over there." So Johnny the antelope led all the younger calves to an area where there were some trees. Johnny then said, "See, if you go to where some trees are, you know that there should be some way the tree is growing. It means the ground is good. So if there's a tree in the middle of this savannah, there's usually other smaller looking trees growing around. And look over there, just a little bit next to that tree. Just a bunch of smaller looking trees next to the big trees. Those are shrubs, and you can go up to any of those shrubs." So the young calves went to the shrubs around the trees and listened to what Johnny the antelope was telling them. Johnny the antelope said, "Now, not all shrubs are the same. You have to be careful sometimes. You can eat a shrub that's really good and yummy, and sometimes you can eat a shrub that's not so yummy. Sometimes you can eat a not so yummy shrub and feel really good and healthy, and sometimes you can eat a shrub that's yummy, but it makes your stomach not feel so good. So watch out. If you smell a shrub and you don't have a good feeling about it, or it smells a little strange, I would advise you to just find another shrub." All the young calves said,
Thanks, Johnny. You're so smart.
and the young calves were able to eat. And when they finished eating all the shrubs around the trees, one of the calves said to Johnny,
Johnny, we ate all the shrubs here. Can you help us find some more?
Johnny sighed. "I thought I told you already I was only going to teach you once and that's it." The young calf said,
I know you said that, but I don't think I remember everything.
Johnny the antelope saw the faces of all the younger calves, who looked like they were all still hungry, and said, "Oh, okay. I really don't feel like it, but I can't just let all of you stay hungry. I'll show you all again, but please pay close attention this time." The young calves all cheered and agreed to pay close attention this time. And although Johnny didn't really want to do it, he felt like he just had to help the little calves, or else they would stay hungry. So Johnny said, "Okay, here we go again. To find the good shrubs to eat, you have to first look for where the trees are. We just ate all the shrubs in this area of trees, so that means we have to look for another area with trees. Can any of you see any trees out in the savannah?" One of the young calves said,
I see one. Over there, closer to where we were before.
So Johnny the antelope said, "Okay, good job. Let's go back that way to that group of trees." So Johnny led all the younger calves back closer to where they were before, where some other trees were. Johnny then said, "Okay, here we go again. When you get near some trees like these, there's usually other smaller looking trees growing around. These are shrubs. You can go up to any of these shrubs." So the young calves went to the shrubs around the trees. But Johnny the antelope said, "Once again, not all shrubs are the same. You have to be careful sometimes. You can eat some shrubs that are yummy and some that are not so yummy. And some are not so yummy, but are good for you. And some are yummy, but make you feel really yucky inside. If a shrub smells strange, don't eat it." All the young calves ate the shrubs and were full. All the young calves listened to Johnny the antelope. And after they ate all the shrubs they could eat, they were full. and they all laid down to take a nap. Johnny the antelope then kept watch of the younger calves to make sure everything was okay. A little before sunset, the wise antelope returned with all the other older antelopes. They found a good place to settle and a place with more food for the herd. Johnny told the wise antelope, "I did it! I was able to help the younger calves find food. But the best part is, I was able to teach the young calves how to find food. I'm not sure if they remembered any of it, but I tried. I didn't really want to at first, but none of them knew how to find food for themselves, and I wasn't going to let them starve. So I showed them how all the older antelope find food. I've been learning from all of you older antelope, and today I taught the younger calves." The wise antelope was very pleased with how Johnny watched over the younger calves while they were gone. "You did a good job," he said. "I'm proud of you." Johnny was surprised. He had never thought of himself as being responsible before, but he was, and he liked it. And after that day, Johnny took on more and more responsibility around the herd. He helped lead the herd to new grazing grounds, and he also helped to look out for predators at times. But Johnny the antelope kept on learning from the older antelopes, so he can teach the younger antelopes one day, as he taught the calves. After many years, Johnny became the leader of the herd. He was a wise leader, and he always put the needs of the herd first. And as a wiser Johnny looked over his own herd, he was thankful for the day that he took on his first responsibility and realized that he was actually able to do much more than he thought. And the antelope lived happily ever after. The end. The term antelope is used to describe one of any of the multiple kinds of hoofed mammals in the family Bovidae. Antelopes come in different shapes, sizes, and forms. Some types of antelope look totally different from other types of antelope. There are over 90 different species of antelope, and they're found throughout Africa, Asia, and parts of Europe and North America. Antelopes are typically slender and graceful animals with long legs and small horns. They're herbivores, and their diet consists of grass, leaves, and shrubs. Here are some fun facts about antelopes. The smallest kind of antelope is called a dik-dik, which is only about 15 inches tall. The largest antelope is called the eland, which can grow up to 10 feet long and weigh over 1,000 pounds. Some antelope, such as the springbok, can jump up to 10 feet high. The oryx can go for days without drinking water. And other antelope like the kudu have the most complex horns of any antelope. There are so many different types of antelope, like gazelles, impalas, elands, oryx, waterbuck, and even wildebeest. So when you use the term antelope, it could mean any of these or other multiple-stomached, cud-chewing, even-toed, hoofed mammals. There are more species of antelope native to Africa than in any other continent, and many are exclusively in the savannas. Antelopes can run at up to speeds of 60 miles per hour. The male antelopes are usually the ones with horns, but there are some exceptions, like the oryx. An antelope's horns can be used for defense and also to be used for displaying to attract mates. Antelope's natural predators include lions, leopards, cheetahs, hyenas, and crocodiles. Have you seen a real-life antelope before? If you have, where did you see it? If you want to write to us, ask your parent to email us at animalstoriesforkids@gmail.com and tell us what you think of our stories. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. If you're listening on Spotify, you can support the podcast through listener support. Plus, check out exclusive show-related content and join the community at patreon.com/animal stories for kids. Until next time, bye!